What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video here today, here for the Singapore Grand Prix round 15 of Apex Online Racing Oceania Season 5, here today on the PS4. Coming into this, I was admittedly very nervous. Obviously, if you guys have seen the last video, or the last round of AR, you would know that it didn't really go so well. We ended up crashing out. So hopefully we can redeem ourselves a little bit here today under the lights at Singapore, but we'll do what we can, but let's go get into qualifying. Alright, so here we are in the garage, and it is raining for the start of qualifying here at Singapore. Now, this is quite interesting because, not gonna lie, I was actually hoping for some rain, but it's set to dry up in about 10 minutes, which means there'll be about 7-8 minutes of dry running at the end of the session. So we're probably all going to be qualifying on dry tyres right at the end. It'll be interesting to see how many people, if anyone for that matter, does try something different, maybe try and qualify on a set of softs or a set of hards or mediums, or just who does what and where they end up. But for us, I am still probably going to aim for the medium to hard strategy. I think that's the optimal strategy if you do want to win this race around here. And yeah, hopefully that will pay off for us. But at the start of qualifying, I was basically just going out just to pass some time, really. Just set a few laps on a set of intermediate tyres. Obviously knowing that these laps will count for absolutely nothing. But provisionally we go pole position. Dubsy eclipses that very quickly though in the Ferrari. We were the first person to cross the line as well. I believe Contrast will move up to P2 any moment now. But we're still pushing on after our first initial lap. I just wanted to see if I could beat Dubsy, and if so, by how much. At the moment, looks like we're on to maybe go P1 by about 2-3 tenths at the moment. As I said, these laps here at the start of qualifying are a bit redundant, being that the end of the session is going to be on dries. But provisionally, we go back onto pole position, and yeah, that was basically the end of that. 10 minutes to go, DRS has been enabled, and that's basically always the cue to come in, get off the wet/intermediate tyres, whatever you might be on, and come in for a set of dries. So I decided to come in, go out on a set of hard tyres actually, because I didn't want to be sitting in the garage for 5-6 minutes and then go out and you know, try and really push my luck. And if I stuffed up my run on the mediums, then more than likely I'd be starting right at the back, which should be the absolute worst case scenario at this track. But provisionally coming around now, where do we go? We go P2 on hards. Contrast on pole position at the moment on medium tyres. So I decided to come in, the team turned us around pretty quickly onto a set of medium tyres and heading back out now. Contrast still sits on provisional pole with ourselves in P2. Then it is Crossy in P3 on the softs crucially, and then Pete Crichton in P4, who's out there on the mediums now, I think. Or actually might be one of those cars leaving the pits behind us. I'm not too sure actually of where he is, but yeah, just trying to find a bit of clean air and a bit of space to call our own that we can work with. Dubsy, I think, was on an outlap, same for Toddster, so they both got out of our way. Spilly goes to the top on a 35.8 on mediums, so pretty impressive lap from him there. But here we go for our lap, and hopefully this can put us somewhere near the front. So down into turn 1 now, brake as late as you dare, use up all the track on the outside. Could have used up more of the inside curb there, so probably not the best run we could have got. Sure shift up the third, hard on the power now, up through the gears. And yeah, pretty good first couple of corners there, run a little bit wide through there. One thing I've noticed is you can definitely cut some of these corners a little bit. It doesn't gain you a lot of time, but when you're running up the front, every little bit counts. Hard on the brakes now, we lock up a little bit on the left front tyre there. That'll cost us a little bit of time. We're purple in sector 1 though, so the start of the lap has been pretty good, a little bit conservative. Not going to lie though, we could definitely be pushing the limits a little harder, a little further, like we were in practice. But coming up now to go under the tunnel, definitely one of the trickiest parts of the track now. We will avoid touching the wall on the right hand side. That was so close, but we got away with it. We've been knocked down to P6. Now P7, as more and more people set times on softs and mediums, and we're in personal best in the second sector. So it's looking like this is going to be very, very close to whether we can actually knock Spilly off provisional pole. I do know, oh my goodness, that's close. As we come to the final couple of corners now, I do know there are people on soft tyres on laps behind us. So I don't expect that we're going to get provisional pole position, but if I can at least get in the top 4, top 5, I will be happy. Front 2 rows of the grid would be nice. Provisionally we come across the line and it is pole position, only marginally over the Racing Point driver. But as we cut to the end now and we drop down to P4, so it's a second row start for us. Not too bad though, we're still well and truly within a good chance of scoring a decent result. And I think it's Pete Crichton alongside us in P3, and then the front row is Plevs and Dubsy, both on the soft tyres though, crucially, so they'll probably be struggling maybe after a lap or two. But yeah, that's qualifying, that's everything I think, so let's go get into the Singapore Grand Prix and hopefully it's Redemption Day. Alright, here we are on the grid, kind of snuck up on me pretty quickly there, but away we go for the formation lap already, so yeah, here we go. So as I said, coming into this, the nerves, I'm not going to lie, the nerves were extremely high, probably the highest they've been since the end of Season 4, back on 2018, when I was battling the man directly in front of us for the world title, and it's definitely looking like it's going to come down to us two once again. We have a 60-point lead over the Mercedes at the moment. We did have an 86-point lead, but after Italy that has been cut all the way down to 60, so he's taken a sizable chunk out of our championship lead. But hopefully here today we can try and rectify that, and yeah, hopefully come away with a good result and try and just regain some of those points that we lost from a stupid little error last time out. So we'll see what we can do. Reforming back on the grid now. Spilly behind us in P5. Pretty decent qualifying from the Racing Point. He's been getting quicker and quicker lately, so he could be a threat in the future. But here we go. Awaiting 5 red lights for round 15 of the Singapore Grand Prix. And away we go. Looks like a really good start. We've already jumped Pete, and we've got a real good launch compared to the front two. We're going to 3 wide into turn 1. Up the inside, Dubsy comes across on us ever so slightly. Plevs goes really, really wide, warning for a collision with Dubsy there. And it looks like we've actually taken the lead now. Dubsy in P2, Plevs in P3. Plevs trying to fend off the Mercedes of Pete Crichton, but I think Pete has got up into P3. Yes, I think he has. But man, what a launch that was. Dubsy, will he try to send it up there inside? No, I was half anticipating a dive, but he doesn't try anything too soon. Doesn't want to risk his entire race, obviously. But man, what a start that was. We just bolted off the line. And yeah, by the time we got to the apex of turn 1, we were first. So yeah, what a absolutely unreal start. But cutting on to the end of lap 2, Dubsy into the pits all ready to get off those soft tyres. So that's a very early pit stop. So definitely tells me that he's committing to a 2-stop. So that leaves Pete Crichton in P2 now to chase after us. And has just managed to get himself back within a second now. Fastest lap of the race from the Mercedes driver. Cutting on to lap 5. And both of us have basically, like normal, just bolted away from the field. Our teammate Stuart McKenzie up in P3 at the moment, so good showing from our teammate at the moment.
Less than a second separate you. They're on old mediums. Their tyres are 6 laps old. The time last lap was a 1:41.7.
Alright, so just checking to see if he has any time penalties. Unfortunately, he does not, so probably only on 1 warning or something, or probably none, knowing our luck, but we're only on 1 warning at the moment as well, so we're doing okay for the moment. Little mistake though, cutting onto lap 9. Still no avenue for the Mercedes to get past us, but he is really, really harassing us at the moment. I'm not going to lie, I feel like that Silver Arrow is definitely quicker out of the two of us. It's cutting on to the end of lap 10 on to lap 11. Pete is in the pits now, trying for an undercut to try and get track position. So we've tried to put in an absolutely blistering in lap, running rich and hot lap for most of the lap now. And yeah, hopefully we can maintain the provisional lead of the race. I have no idea where he is on track at the moment, so this will be interesting. Hopefully the Williams mechanics can give us a quick turnaround and get us back out on the racetrack quick sharp, so we can get on with things. So into the pits now, get it slowed up, make sure we don't speed, and yeah, now it's up to the Williams boys, as it looks like Jay Banks is going to follow us in, it looks like. So the second Mercedes in it as well. Swaggy is P3, so he is definitely probably the man who has gained the most positions after serving qualifying ban, which he was supposed to serve last time out, but we won't get into that. But heading back onto the track now, and you can just see Pete on the front straight now, and it looks like, if anything, the overcut has actually worked better for us, and we've actually got more of a gap than what we did when he came in. You can see him back there, so the undercut has gone horribly wrong for the Mercedes driver, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we've got nearly a 2-second lead. So that has paid off quite handsomely for us. Staying out that extra lap and just basically trying to do a qualifying in lap has worked very well for us. Cutting on to lap 14 though, and we've caught up to Dubsy in the Ferrari, who is on a 2-stop as well. I think I mentioned that earlier, but there you go, I'll just reinforce the point. But anyway, and kind of holding us up ever so slightly here, so we need to get by as quick as we can, because this has allowed Pete to gain on us very, very quickly. So DRS overtake Richfield Mixer on the Ferrari driver side by side, so close to touching tyres, but we get the move done, and that is up into P2. Aaron is the race leader on hard tyres. I think he's still yet to stop as well, so that's yeah, that's interesting to see someone trying what I presume is a hard to medium strategy. So it'll be interesting to see where he ends up in this race. But cutting on to lap 17, and speak of the devil, Aaron peels off into the pits and will undoubtedly go onto a set of mediums for a 13-lap sprint to the end, and probably just go hell for leather for the rest of the race, assuming there's no safety cars or anything. You know, everything is possible, so we could see one, but yeah, we'll wait and see. But cutting off lap 18, Pete tries to dive up here inside into the hairpin. Not gonna lie, I wasn't expecting that on that particular occasion. That's why I started to turn in, and then when I actually saw him, I opened up the steering a little bit. Cutting on to lap 21, that's El Tonki, who has crashed debris all over the circuit there, so that's a bit dangerous. Hopefully the marshals can get that cleared up, and El Tonki can try and get that car back to the pits, or at least get it to a safe spot where it won't be in the way like that, because if that car wasn't ghosted, that's going to be in a very awkward spot for everybody to negotiate. But we're surviving the pressure from Pete at the moment. We've done it for 21 laps, only another 10 left. Swaggy retires from the race again, so that's seems to be a common trait with the Alfa Romeo driver. He's got good speed, but he's just way too inconsistent, so a bit unfortunate for him. But now we have a safety car. Okay, so this is really going to spice things up now. Basically 10 laps to go. I definitely think I'm going to come in for a set of medium tyres. Pete will undoubtedly follow us in, and more than likely so will everybody else on the track. We should still come out P1 and P2, being that we are so far ahead of everybody. So into the pits now, make sure you don't speed. And it looks like it's down to a battle of the pit crews now, and that, I think that was a set of softs waiting for Pete there, and it is, you can see up the top left. So Pete Crichton has gone on the soft tyres. I don't think that's a right call myself. Mediums on standby by the team, give the green light to go, and Williams have done a superb job there to get us back out ahead of Pete Crichton. And I got to admit, this is kind of a bit of a worrying time for me now, because Pete has gone on the softs. Now, I'm not too sure about this, because while they are a very, very quick tyre, from testing that I've done in days prior and weeks prior as well, the softs aren't that good of a race tyre, be it on heavy fuel or low fuel. I find they wear out way too quickly. They overheat so damn quickly as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on in these last few laps, whether we can hang on and try and redeem ourselves for what happened last time out at the Italian Grand Prix. I'm not going to lie, that has been eating away at me for all 7 days up until this race, and we're so close to redeeming ourselves. We're so close to redemption. We've got 8 laps left to try and hang on with our championship rival breathing down our backside. Dubsy in P3 behind us as well. He's no slouch either. But here we go, getting ready for the safety car restart. We've got to try and time this right, and away we go. And looks like we've timed that really well. We've caught Pete napping a little bit there, actually. And we've got just a little bit of a gap though, but with those soft tyres, he should immediately close back onto us. Down into turn 1 now. And yeah, as you can see, look how close he is to the rear wing already. So we're probably going to get absolutely mugged off here in a very short space of time by the Mercedes driver. But we've got a good run onto the straight, and we've actually got some real good straight line speed here today as well, which is something I've neglected to mention so far. And it's kept us ahead of Pete for a long time. But coming down into the hairpin now, he sends it up the inside. And a little bit of contact made between the pair of us, but I'm not going to lie, compared to how our fights normally pan out, that was a, that's nothing to complain about there. But, cutting on to lap 26, he pulled away from us momentarily, but then we've actually been able to catch right back onto the back of him, and I think Pete is suffering with dramas with the soft tyres, which is exactly what I thought. DRS overtake, rich fuel mixture, around the outside, and then will he try and dive back up the inside? No, he slots in behind us, and I felt like the softs weren't the right move as Aaron retires from the session as well, so a bit unfortunate for the Haas driver. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any points for the American team here tonight. But I'm not going to lie, I felt like the softs weren't the right call. I felt like they'd wear too quickly. Pete might suffer with overheating dramas. And as we cut onto the final lap of the race, I'd say that is precisely what has happened. Because he has now dropped off massively. He's nearly 8 seconds behind us now. And he can't exactly afford to cruise to the end because Eye Contrast is rapidly gaining on the Silver Arrow in P2, so Contrast could potentially be on for a second place right now, and yeah, that's quite interesting to see, especially now with Darren, who retired from league racing. I think back, I think Hungary was actually his last race, so he's been moved off the standings now and has been replaced by J Banks. There is actually quite a big scrap between 4 cars for P3 in the championship, involving, if I'm not mistaken, it's Eye Contrast, Plevs, Spilly and Dubsy, who are all incredibly close in a battle for P3. And then there's about a 60-point gap, which will then take you up to ourselves and Pete Crichton, 1 and 2 in the championship, and 99% of the time 1 and 2 on track as well. And I'm not going to lie, the nerves were so high at the start of this race, and I was trying to just coach myself through these last few corners, just talking to myself, don't make any mistakes, just bring this thing home. It's been a rough week since the Italian Grand Prix, I'm not going to lie, but here today at Marina Bay, it's redemption day for us guys. Cross the line, back on top, get in there. So there we go guys, that has been today's video, round 15 of Apex Online Racing, here today for the Singapore Grand Prix. We are back on top, baby. Oh man, that's a good feeling. Redemption day right here guys, but That's it from me today. If you enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, stay tuned for plenty more. And until the next video, I'll see you guys next time.